What in the 20s is going
in the
on?
20s?
Think about
Yes, the 20s, baby.
Plenty. What in the 20s is going on? 20s, baby. This is the 20s.
Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Zama Mkize, and this is What's in the 20s, a podcast where you listen to me grow through its baby. On today's episode, we're going to be speaking about burning out. And the reason why I'm bringing this forth is because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And mental health is something that I take very, very, very seriously. It is the foundation with which all my work revolves around, honestly. I think that anything that I do, if it is writing a poem, if it is public speaking, if it is podcasting or all of that, it is just built on mental wellness and self-improvement and development and all of that. Like, I am so passionate about it. It's something that I even wrote. I remember writing my thesis paper, just on it, my research paper in my honors year and all of that kind of stuff. And it's something that you can't know me and not know how much I care about people's well-being. You can't know me and not understand fully like the depths. Like, I feel like every fiber in me, everything in me, like when I say I care about you and what you're thinking and feeling and stuff, I care about myself and what I'm feeling and all the rest. Like, it's so important. And that's why I really, really love May. I really love that. I think it's such an important initiative. We really do have to bring awareness and light to things that are going on. Like, the world is really, really, really chaotic right now. It's really heavy. Economically, things are pretty heavy. Like, people are just struggling and going through a lot. And I know that a lot of people do not feel okay. They do not feel like their best selves. They do not feel like this is the life they're meant to be living. The desire for joy, for peace, for a break, right? Sometimes you feel like life is just coming at you, next thing after the next thing after the next thing. Like, you just want a release. You just want to feel safe. You just want to feel at ease. And it feels like there's so much pressure. It feels like there's so many expectations. It feels so chaotic internally because of everything that's happening externally. And, we can never talk about it enough, because the truth is, people are still taking their lives because of this feeling, because of this pain and this suffering and this loneliness. People are still hurting themselves because of the things that they're going through. And we can't, I don't want to shy away from it. I do want to be an advocate for speaking about it, no matter how tough it gets, no matter how uncomfortable it feels, because that's the thing, it's so exposing and makes you feel so vulnerable to discuss such a sensitive topic. But it's so needed, and it's so important. And I think that we could save more lives if we spoke to each other more, if we made people understand more, if we made people feel seen more, And I don't just mean it as like we're just talking, I mean it as a practice, as an everyday, like, checking in. I had a phone call with a friend of mine actually yesterday, and they were just like, we need to check in on each other more, And something as simple as that, like, it's so true. Like, I think we can get so caught up in not doing that people feel so alone in the things that they're going through. And I get it, we're all going through something, but I think it helps when we feel like we have people to turn to, when it feels like we have people who are rooting for us and who are providing a safe space, for us to experience the things that we're working through and growing through. And yeah, that's really how I wanted to start this episode, first and foremost, by speaking. Like, if you are a listener of this podcast, if you are, somebody who participates and a part of this community and stuff, then I would assume that you care about this as much as I do. And I hope that we can be more vocal about it, that we can be more proactive about it, speak to people, let other people know, about the importance of mental wellness and stuff like that. Like, I really want us to be such a proactive community that cares and can help each other out. You can message me whenever you need to, you can DM me, you can comment, you can, all of that kind of stuff. I truly, truly do care. I'll do what I can, what I, feel like I have the energy to, the capacity to, and all of that kind of stuff. But like, yeah, I want to first and foremost begin by talking about that. But let's speak about burnout, right? We are in May, which is about 5 months into the year. And I think that it is very easy for us to go through this cycle of burnout, right? I think the first quarter, we get into the year with so much energy, with so much determination, with so much conviction about how our year should be going. We feel motivated, we feel focused, we feel like there's a direction. And then as the months keep going on, we start to wear out a bit. We start to feel ourselves tear down a bit. And just the feeling of, I'm so tired sits in, right? And I've heard so many people around me say that people are fatigued right now. People are stressed. People are overwhelmed. People are under pressure. I feel like life's expectations and responsibilities just keep on piling up, right? Today it's bills. The next day it is, your routines and stuff, making sure you get 10,000 steps, making sure you go to the gym, making sure you drink enough water, making sure you're drinking all these other variations of water, right? With chia seeds and stuff, with okra water, okra. And all the new things, the lemon balm water, blah, 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 blah. Like they'll just keep adding things of what you should be taking, whatever teas, and there are millions of teas we all need to be taking for some reason. And then being reminded that this can cause cancer. Be careful of that because this can cause cancer, because that can cause cancer. That's something that I know occupies my mind a lot because unfortunately for me, my mother passed away because of cancer. And so I'm always like, concerned, like, is this something I should be taking, I should be doing, I should be eating, I should be this and that, like I'm always constantly thinking about like, oh, what is the best way for me to like be healthier and all of that kind of stuff. And the list just keeps going on and on and on and on about the things that need to get done. Then it's electricity, then it's water, and it's cold now, right? And so electricity is running, the bills are running high because we've got our heaters and warm water and all of that kind of stuff. And it just feels like everything is a pressure. Then it's like, oh, I need to get new clothes because my old clothes, they're tearing or they don't fit or they don't that. So now it's like, oh, another thing to add onto the list and stuff because I need to feel warm. I need a jacket. I need a blanket and stuff this winter or whatever it is. And then it's like, oh, your skincare, oh, your career. You need to be making more money. You need to be having more things. You need to be doing more. You need to be being more. You need to be just constant visibility. You need to be in spaces. You need to be social. You need to keep up with your friends. There's also a lot of pressure, right? Maintaining a social life is work. In the midst of all of these things that you're trying to do for yourself alone to stay afloat, there are also people depending on you, whether it's your friendships, your family, just being someone that shows up socially is work, right? Because if they have an event and all of that kind of stuff, you have to think about getting a gift or whatever it is, of attending, about the transport, right? The petrol to go there and all of that kind of stuff to show up, right? And it's like that is a mental load too of feeling exhausted. Like sometimes you're too tired to pick up the phone and call and all of that. Sometimes you don't even know how to attend all these different events, whether it's a baby shower or a birthday or a bridal shower or a graduation or a this and that. Like it's just another thing and another thing and another thing. And you want to show support. You want to be there. But you also know like, oh, okay, you start getting stressed. Like, okay, what am I going to wear? What do I need to get? What do I need to this? What do I need to? And then that makes you feel a bit burnt out because you also only have so much to keep yourself afloat. And these are very real realities that people have. Like a lot of people are missing out on socially interacting with their friends because of the pressure to afford being in those social spaces, right? The pressure of just making sure they can keep up with it, right? It's a feeling of wanting to keep up. Your career also, there's a lot of expectation and pressure with that, right? You're trying so hard to climb up the ladder. You're trying so hard to be the best at what you're doing, to give everything. It's a lot of pressure when you feel like you're the least experienced. Everybody else has more experience, has more this, has more that, more privilege, has a network, has a this. Like you're constantly comparing yourself to people and you're running on this hamster wheel, always trying to catch up, always trying to prove that you can do it. You are good enough. You do deserve to be here. You do deserve more. And it is exhausting. And then you come home and then you have to think about, oh my goodness, what am I going to eat? Right? The question every single day, what am I going to eat? What am I going to eat? Sometimes people don't even eat because they're so tired of having to think about what to eat. And that is the feeling of burnout, right? Of exhaustion is the decision fatigue gets to you. You made so many decisions throughout the day that the last thing you want to be thinking about at the end of it is, what am I going to eat? Like you're so tired, you just want to pass out and go to bed, but it's like you wake up and you relive the day all over again. And that's what I'm saying. It's such a cycle of chasing this never ending loop, right? You're like chasing fulfillment, satisfaction, you're chasing financial stability, we're chasing friendships and to beat loneliness and all of that kind of stuff. Like I feel like we are trying to self-optimize, we're trying to have self-care, remember to have all these hygiene steps and all this and all that. Like it is driving us insane. In fact, it is making us more tired. It is making us feel really, really, really burnt out in ways that can never, I feel like we can never put behind us, if that makes sense. Because these things all feel so important anyways. It feels like if I don't do it, like there's no other way, it has to get done. This is the way we operate in society. This is the way that I need to be able to feel like my best self and stuff. But I think it's doing the opposite. It's making us feel even more behind. It's making us feel even more just like failure. I can't tell you how many times I would feel like a failure, but people from the outside keep saying, you're doing so great, you're doing amazing, you're this, whatever. And people are looking in from the outside in, right? Because you're showing productivity, you're showing, the wins and stuff. But I've encountered so many losses, so many no's. I can't tell you my relationship with rejection. It's so deep and so frustrating, because I rejection letter after rejection letter after rejection. Like I don't even know what I'm doing anymore sometimes, and it will discourage you so much that you don't even know why you're working so hard. Like, why am I putting in so much effort? Why am I trying so hard for this? Why am I, just working my butt off, to move the needle just this much, just so tiny, to feel like I'm making just a small progress, and all of that kind of stuff. It feels so unmotivating, and you have to keep in the race because the alternative is to do nothing, and that hurts even more. And, when you think about the root cause of all of this, right? I mean, I know that the feeling of inadequacy is really, really, really frustrating for me. Not feeling good enough. And that's why I work as hard as I do, because I always want proof that I work hard enough. I always want proof that I am, giving my all and stuff like that, because I'm so afraid of not being enough for the criteria, not meeting, the expectations of, what I feel like are my standards or and I get it, because people will say things like, you're so hard on yourself, and you understand it. And you're like, okay, yes, I need to breathe. I need to appreciate how far I've come. I need to enjoy this moment, enjoy this feeling. I need to just celebrate, and I think I do celebrate myself. I've gotten so much better, but when I tell you there is this hunger inside of me, this insatiable hunger to want to succeed, to want to just thrive. I know that so many of us feel it too. I know that it is burning inside of so many of us to make it, right? Whatever that may look like, and it's so difficult to rest when you feel like you should be doing more. It's so difficult to give yourself a break when it feels like you should be going harder, you should be grinding more, putting in more hours, sacrificing more sleep. It's so hard to go easy on yourself and like meet yourself with love and kindness and care, when there is a certain life you want for yourself, when there are certain things that matter to you, and there's a certain level of comfort you aspire for your life, and I think that's always the difficulty we sit with is, yes, we need to be kinder to ourselves. Yes, we need to take it easy. Yes, we need to slow down and all of that. But if you knew where I'm trying to go, right? That's what we sit with. It's like, if you knew how badly I wanted this, what I'm trying to do, what I am trying to achieve, you'd understand why I can't rest, why I can't stop now, why I can't quit, why I can't change, why, you know what I'm saying? And that's why that's why we get burnt out, because it feels like even if we're on fumes, let me burn that too. Like let me run on fumes too if it gets me to where I'm trying to go or whatever. And it's very sad because it's a cycle, as I keep saying. It's like we burn out to a point. I've spoken about this many times on the podcast before, of how it took me months to recover from my burnout 2 years ago, December 2 years ago. I had a really intense burnout that, led me to go see a psychologist and all of that, because I was like, I need to see a therapist. I need to speak to someone. I'm not well. And I shared with you guys last year about, seeing a therapist and everything, because like the burnout I experienced was so, I could not move. I could not think. I could not, like, I was finished. When you just feel so tired, so like I have nothing to give. That was the point that I had reached, and I have done such a great job. I haven't had a burnout like that, since 2 years ago. And I'm really, really proud of myself, because I've worked hard to not reach that place anymore, and that's why I feel qualified to talk about this. Because I also know that some people experience it in a way, like worse way, like burnout that keeps them away from work for a year, for years even, where you can't even connect with the things that used to make you happy anymore, because you're dust and ash. You're literally just like, you have nothing, and the world keeps taking and taking and asking, and it just feels like, enough. Like, when is it my turn to relax? When is it my turn to reap the rewards and all of that kind of stuff? And I think that a lot of the loop and the roots of where, this burnout thing comes from, it is also an insecurity, right? So how I even spoke about the feeling of not wanting to be inadequate, it's an insecurity with yourself, right? And you're insecure about how your friends might see you, so you feel the need to present yourself a certain way, to show up a certain way, and all that kind of stuff. And you give more than you can actually afford. You give more of yourself than you can actually handle and maintain, and sustain also, right? And so it's these insecurities that we have in ourselves, because we don't want to reveal who we really are. So we perform a role for people. We perform a role for society, for our careers, our jobs, for our family, and all of that kind of stuff. And it burns us out. The mask gets so heavy to carry, it gets so heavy to wear, to keep trying to present yourself as a certain version of yourself for people. The reason why we get into the cycle of burnout is for survival. We work as hard as we do to survive, to be able to, as I said earlier, pay the bills, to get through, to get by, and to heal and all of that kind of stuff. Like, we run ourselves dry so that we can it's like a matter of of survival, really. And that's the thing. Sometimes it's like you can tell someone, no, like, slow down, you're gonna burn out. But like, what are their options? Like, to just not show up to work, you know what I'm saying? And it's such a difficult conversation to have, if we're constantly always speaking from a place of privilege. Some people do not have the privilege of just stepping away, of just taking a break, of just stopping, of resting, and all of that kind of stuff. Some people need this more than everything, of relying on the work that they do to get by. And it's crazy. Like, I know that during like the very early stages of my grief, I relied on my work to survive. I relied on my work to not feel the pain that I was going through, and the struggling, and all of that kind of stuff. So it's like you distract yourself, right? And that's what people do. We burn ourselves out and we distract ourselves with all these other things, because we're carrying too much, the weight of what we're feeling, whether it's a heartbreak or this or that, all of that kind of stuff. It's like we just need something else to numb the pain. But that is also a form of burnout. Going on that path long enough will destroy you. Will destroy you quicker than you anticipated. It will cost you way more in the long run than it is doing for you temporarily, and all of that kind of stuff. I think that if we just, I don't know, if we just take a minute to think about what are other ways that I can positively and constructively pour into myself, then looking for distractions and stuff, I think that could help. I think if we're thinking about a way that feels like I am giving back to me after a full day of giving out, I think those small little pockets of joy add something, add something to how we feel about ourselves in our life. I think we need to stop pushing too hard for too long. Yes, we can go hard to to get something, but you can't do it for too long because, as I'm saying, it's not sustainable. You cannot maintain it. And so if we pace ourselves, if we section things out, if we say, from this time to this time, this is how much we're putting in, from this time to this time, it's a complete shutdown, whether it means putting your phone on do not disturb, whether it means going out for a walk, whether it means watching your favorite show or movie, whatever, but you schedule time to yourself to not focus on running yourself dry and empty. You need to schedule me time. You need to schedule time that is just dedicated and investing into your joy, your peace, your light, rather than feeling like all the 24 hours of your day is just, provisioned for the work that you do, provisioned for your social life, provisioned for just everything, for all the stresses and pressures and everything that you're going on. Section time out that is, purely just for your peace, just for your happiness and all of that kind of stuff. I think that burnout happens from a build-up of disappointment, a build-up of unhappiness, a build-up of your needs not being met. It layers and it layers, and you go on, as I said, you push too hard for too long, and it layers until you just find yourself crashing out. You just find yourself having a meltdown, an emotional breakdown, and all of that, because it's like you realize it has been this thing that has been layering inside of you, that has been, suffocating you from the inside, that you kept trying to suppress and push down. Stop trying to suppress your emotions. Allow it to pass through you. Allow it to relieve you and all of that kind of stuff. I think that when you're in burnout, you find yourself living on autopilot, right? You don't feel connected to experiences. You don't feel connected to people. You can't be present in the moment and all of that kind of stuff because you're just kind of moving with the wind. You're just kind of showing up here, going here. Nothing is ever fulfilling. Nothing is ever really speaking to you. You don't feel inspired. You don't feel motivated. Your life kind of feels like you're just trying to pass time. And that's, what burnout can feel like. Like you're just moving, but you don't feel alive. You're just kind of, you're here, but you're not with us, And I think that, if you're in a season of experiencing depression, that's often what it feels like, right? Where you can't, I know Mo described it the other times, like I'm sitting on this chair, but I can't feel the chair. I can't feel like, and I'm like, that's so intense and so real for so many people that I'm here, but I have no idea what's really happening and stuff like that. It's like an out of body experience. And I think that that's a side effect that can be a side effect of burnout, where you're out of it. You don't feel like you are existing in yourself and stuff like that. And I think that if we are experiencing this, perhaps a change needs to happen. Maybe a change in environment, a change in diet, a change in routine, a change in your habits, a change in your career path, your choices, your friendships, all of that. Perhaps there is something that is making you so unbelievably unhappy in this space that you need to implement a change in your life for things to be better, for things to work out better. A better system needs to be applied, so that you can take care of you the best way, and all of that kind of stuff. I think that you need to break things down. Stop trying to look at things as the whole picture, break your tasks down. Stop trying to achieve everything in a day, in a week, in a month, even in a year. Sometimes a year is not long enough to achieve the goals that you want, break things down. That's something I struggle with. Like, I'm like, by the end of this year, I want this. But sometimes I'm really sitting in the beginning of a 10-year plan or in the middle of a 5-year plan, but I'm trying to get it all done in 1 year. Like, section your life apart. Like, maybe this year, the only thing that's really important is to take care of your mental health. Maybe this year, the biggest priority for you is to focus on your friendships and investing in the relationships in your life. Maybe this year, the most important focus is to just invest in your academics or your career. You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of trying to achieve everything, and I get it because we want a full, well-rounded, holistic life and all of that. But I think because these are all new habits, it's too much, too soon for too long. We need to section things out and be like, this is where my focus is going into. If it's going into my health, okay, for the next 3 months, 4 months, all I'm focusing on is my, what I'm eating, how active I'm being and stuff, rather than trying to change your whole life at one go. I think that's what makes us burn out. That's what makes us crash out very, very, very quickly. And I think most importantly, get help. Ask for assistance. I always speak about how I struggle for asking for help. Ask your friends to show up. Ask your family for help. If you can afford it, seek professional help, ask your team for help if you're in a work environment. Stop trying to carry it all on your own. Seek help. You're burning out because you're trying to carry it all on your own. You need to learn how to ask for assistance, how to ask for guidance, for leadership, for mentorship. Stop trying to think, oh, I can do this all by myself. You don't have to. You are burning yourself out, And as the saying says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And I think that's so important when we think about, the plans and the things that we're trying to do for our life. That's what I really want to speak about today, is like learning how to take people with you, how to lean on people, how to trust people, how to, venture with people. We need that. We are all so lonely and going through too much on our own. We need to ask for assistance. We need to ask for backup. And yeah, I really hope that we can take that with us in this new, in this month, Mental Health Awareness Month, but in our lives, in our own practices. But yeah, as always, I'm sending my love. Goodbye.
What in the 20s is going on?
In the 20s,
here.
the 20s, baby.
Plenty. What in the 20s is going on?
Here for my 20s,
baby. This is the 20s.